So, lads, today we're going to be talking about one of the kind of major things for this Project B League that people don't seem to realize. Like everybody being like, "Oh, the league, like it mightn't happen, or it's not going to go ahead." No, this shit's happening. This shit's happening. So if you look at the some of the investors, the U.S. Open title holder is Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic is net worth of a couple of 100 million. Like, he's maybe the greatest tennis player of all time. Um, my personal goat is Fed, but like, I think a lot of people have Novak as their goat. But genuinely, it is one of those things when it comes to this league is that you really do need to to have like a real WNBA legend involved, and yeah, they have Candice Parker. They have Candice Parker. I understand you got Fee, you got Stewie, but like Candice Parker is big. Why is Candice Parker big? Because of her relationship to a lot of franchises in the league. Her jersey's retired by two. But Candice Parker has a relationship with a lot of players. A lot of those Aces players. She's got relationships with, she runs a podcast with Aaliyah Boston. You better believe Candice Parker getting involved in this league, if the league is in anything at all. I have a feeling that WNBA player could be Aaliyah Boston that they have. I think when it came to the men's basketball side, they probably said it's probably going to cost us so much money to get the men's going, and we're never going to be able to get the top players. But if we do it on the women's side, because you could see that it went from, oh, this is the Saudi league, to this is now a league that's not competing with the WNBA, but is trying to get in on the women's sports boom. Like, this is just a bunch of tech bros. This is a bunch of tech bros. And you've now got the likes of Candice Parker, Novak Djokovic. You've got a bunch of investors that are trying to make money out of this. They're trying to make money out of this. And you better believe, like, there are going to be some players investing. Heck, Juju Watkins is invested in Unrivaled. She might not play, but she's invested in Unrivaled. It could be one of those things where it's like, I think they're going to take a lot of players from Unrivaled. Why mainly? Because it's 5v5. Like, this is going to push Unrivaled into a situation where Unrivaled have to expand massively next year. Otherwise, they're going to lose, because the vast majority of people will take the deal to get paid more to play 5v5. They will. Like, if there is an alternative to Unrivaled with similar level players that's 5v5, everyone will watch the 5v5. If Unrivaled gets a whole bunch of funding, goes 5v5 and can draw in a few massive players, it is what it is. But Aaliyah Boston, Candice Parker is involved. The likelihood of Aaliyah Boston playing is, I'm not going to say greater than 50%, but I'd say there's a decent chance that Aaliyah Boston plays in this league, just due to that relationship, just due to the fact that there is a business relationship between the two of them. And I would say that Candice Parker is probably like, we can pitch, like, I'm an investor. They're probably going to use Candice Parker's name in a lot of things. They're probably going to use her as an advisor, because they're being smart about it. They're getting former players as advisors. They have the money. They're definitely just going to go, you know what, like, what price will it take for you to get into this league? It's like, well, I'm making 400k in Unrivaled. Okay, we'll 10x that. Go play in this league. And I think the answer, let's be real, for most of them will be yeah. The answer for most of them will absolutely be yeah. Because it'll be an interesting to see what happens this year in Unrivaled, because I think one of the reasons why Angel Reese probably isn't playing is because of the Sabrina deal. Sabrina literally last year barely showed up. She barely showed up and still was like absolutely like terrible when she did. And she got paid more than everybody else. So I'd say Angel Reese is probably, trying to get that deal. She's like, man, I'm either getting the Sabrina deal or I'm out. And I don't think they have enough money to give the Sabrina deal to a lot of people. So, yeah, I do think in general, Candice Parker being involved is a really big sign. It's a really big sign for for like the league's legitimacy. Like, everybody calling it the Saudi League, this is a women's basketball league. They probably won't play a single game in Saudi Arabia. This is like, this isn't like football where fans will go to watch football in Saudi Arabia. That's not what this is. They will highly unlikely play a single game in Saudi Arabia. Because if you guys haven't seen, even with like the WWE, with the women's wrestlers, like, they were very reluctant to let them go to Saudi Arabia. And then even when they did, everything had to be covered up and everything. And I don't think that... It's very different. Like, they wouldn't put on an all women's WWE card in Saudi Arabia. They just wouldn't do that. So I don't think we're going to see a single game of this league being played in Saudi Arabia. But the Saudi Public Investment Fund, like, they're putting money in everything. Like, that's one of those things. I always say this, if you're morally going to grandstand against Saudi influence in anything, basically they just have infinite money. And they have infinite money and a finite amount of oil. So what they're trying to do is invest in literally everything with the money they have right now, because when oil runs out, they have the money. So when you have infinite money and a finite amount of the resources getting your money right now, you need to make sure that you continue to invest in things and keep infinite money. But yeah, I would assume they're gonna play in America. People are like, oh, they're not gonna play. No, they're gonna play in America. The arenas are there. They're gonna play where the arenas are. They're gonna play in America. They're gonna probably... my prediction is that Australia and like Southeast Asia, then like China they're probably two separate trips. China, Japan is probably another trip. That's two of them. Then they're probably doing two in America, and one in Eastern Europe, one in Western Europe, and I don't know where the last one's going to be. But that would be my assumption for the 8. Like, they're not going to bring a women's basketball league to the Middle East. They're just not. They're just not. Like, there is nothing that will go down worse. There is absolutely nothing that will go down worse in the Middle East than the WNBA. And to be honest, like, that's just not going to happen. So anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. It's going to be a really interesting thing to see what ends up happening and who gets involved, who doesn't. Right now, my prediction is I don't know if it's likely or not. I would say Candace Parker getting Aaliyah Boston in. My guess would be yeah. And I think we're going to see a lot. I think we're going to see equally as many All-Stars in year 1 in Project B as in Unrivaled. That is my theory. And I think Project B is not a competitor for the WNBA. It is a competitor for Unrivaled, and it might overtake Unrivaled. I think the only way Unrivaled survives this league is if Unrivaled gets massive investment and goes 5v5. I think that's the only way it survives, because, come on, 3v3 full court is a gimmick ball. We have to be honest, it's gimmick ball.